One of the most important things that we can do is clarify our expectations when it comes to our relationships. According to H. Norman Wright in his book, How to Get Along with Almost Anyone, he explains two types of relationships. There's binding and casual. I'll be quoting from the book for the most part, unless I'm interjecting my own experiences here and there. There are four relationship levels: minimal, moderate, strong, and quality. Each is explained in detail in the book. So, how do relationships fail? They fail because fear and selfishness, which can lead to destructive behavior, will cause destruction of relationships. There are three qualities for getting along: they are genuineness, non possessive love, and empathy. All three are necessary for fulfilling relationships. You also need to love yourself. Before we can get along with others as Christ commanded, we must learn to accept and love ourselves. The only way we can express biblical qualities like grace, love, forgiveness, and patience, and so on, is to express these attributes ourselves first. Knowing God accepts us and loves us helps us to have a healthy self image. We need to make room for weak spots. What's your Achilles heel? It usually falls into five different categories. One, I'm afraid of getting hurt again. Two, when I look in the mirror, I'm never quite satisfied. Three, I can't stand criticism. Four, I'm always feeling tense and rushed. Or five, I wish I could be happier. The next section is to live without regrets. My oldest son takes this advice to heart. I just read in a devotional that we have two teachers, ones that we learn valuable information from, and ones that we learn what we don't want to be. One thing I try to teach my children is to live without regrets, because those that taught me what not to be had a lot of regrets. And regrets can cause you a lot of unnecessary problems if avoided altogether. Sometimes change is necessary to get along with others. First, it starts with us. Then there's changing versus coping and understanding the difference. Accepting that no one likes to change, but even though it's difficult, it is possible. What is love when it comes to relationships? It's the key ingredient to marriages, family, and friendships. What does it mean to be loved? We need safety, security, support, a sense of belonging, care, acceptance, and specialness. Listening is an expression of love because you're taking seriously what another person is saying. A variety of listening that involves wordless listening through body language. There's also checking listening, which is to repeat what you believe the person is saying. Nurturing listening is listening for emotional content behind the message and sharing it back to the speaker. The book explains the need to adapt to different social styles. There are four different social styles. The first is analytical, which is a high level of emotional control with a low level of assertiveness. Second is amiable, which is a low level of assertiveness and a high level of responsiveness, and others. Third is expressive or flamboyant in their behavior. And lastly is a driver, which is a high degree of assertiveness and emotional self control. There are also adapting to different sensory perceptions and personalities. Our critical attitudes can contaminate. We can cripple people with discouragement, preventing them from fulfilling their potential and break their morale. There are various forms of destructive criticism. They are blamers, the hurtful jokers, the fault finders, and cannibals. Destructive criticism usually involves accusation, guilt, intimidation, and resentment. When we are the target of destructive criticism, defensiveness is a barrier that will keep you from getting along with others. Our response should be to listen to our critics, realize that not all criticism is bad, evaluate the criticism for validity, clarify the root problem, think about the charge, respond positively and confidently, and agree with the criticism to a point. Negative people are everywhere. The book suggests we pray fervently for them and lovingly interact with them. Non-communicators need us to accept their silence, ask open-ended questions, and confront silence directly. The controller or dominators need us to not fight control with resistance. Lovingly share accurate facts. Listen, 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 and persist in sharing alternatives. Lastly, there's a relative relationship inventory to gauge where you are in relationship with relatives, how to solve and not solve conflicts with relatives. If you're serious about understanding relationships better, adding this book to your personal library will be very important for you today.